Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. Holy crap. The other day I made a video talking about how Alyssa Mercante came and crashed Hypnotic's Saturday Night Hypnosis stream, trying to brag about how she raised $20,000 for this charity.
He even has the fancy little, like, soundproof and shit. Which, by the way, I saw, I was going to actually screen cap it to him the other day. There was somebody, like, from Kotaku or something that had the exact same things on the wall. And I was going to screenshot it to him and say Smash JT Kotaku confirmed or something like that.
Called the Trans Lifeline charity, and in covering that initially, it was more just like scratching the surface of what I found to be an unending rabbit hole.
Also, the good thing about his studio is that natural light, man. You can't beat natural light on camera. It always looks fucking good. It always looks so goddamn good, guys. Like, natural lighting in any, like, setting with your camera will always be your best bet. You cannot beat it.
No matter how much research I did, I kept finding more information about how horrific this charity really is. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com.
Charlie's not talking drama anymore.
That is exhaustive, at least as exhaustive as I could have made it in this sitting. Because, like I said, this rabbit hole goes deep. From Kiwi Farms investigations to embezzlements of misappropriated funds, it ended up...
See, this thing was the thing I saw today. When you see this... she raised $20K for a charity that's paying people like six figures. And then on top of that, you could see, says there's been a significant spending of Trans Lifeline funds outside the scope of the current budget. Much of this spending was on an unauthorized project, neither approved of by the board nor made clear to donors. So these people basically got fucking like in trouble for using fucking funds. So it's safe to say that the $20K she raised is either going to people misusing funds or getting a six-figure fucking salary. Yeah, I saw that PDX. I saw that when they came in. I didn't get to watch it, but I saw all the stuff leading up to that person on Twitter between Hypnotic and I think his name was like Sprong, like something. Yeah, those guys are all fucking idiots. Anytime they show up on something, they get fucking demolished. Like when Nick Calandra went on to side scrollers, that changed his whole behavior and shit. Like that motherfucker like started behaving on Twitter after that.
Up being one of the biggest icebergs of hidden criminal activity in a charity that I've ever witnessed. And this is coming from a guy who covered the Gerard the Completionist saga in depth. And I found this one, I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I genuinely hope that there's some good in this world, like the St. Jude's out there and the other American Red Cross. Hopefully, I don't know. Like, at this point,
Smash just said something in the chat that I've been thinking about a lot of motherfuckers. He said that the person that went on Hypnotic stream, that he doesn't think they actually work at Kotaku, that he thinks they're autistic LARPers. And to be honest, I've noticed that there's a lot of people that are, I guess, in that circle of the journalist, like the political activist, like woke journalist circle that are like wannabe, I guess, fringe Spurg members. Like, you know what I mean? Like the other week, there was this guy named like Green Eggs and Cam or something. And I think he's like a fringe LARPer. And basically what they are just Twitter accounts that just retweet all the bigger articles from activists. You know, it's just the blue-haired nose ring things. Should react to the conversation, APE. I added chapters to the stream. All right, yeah, I'll check it out after this. Sounds funny.
The more information that I get from researching charities, I feel like every single one of them has a lot of skeletons in the closet. Let's travel back to 2018, the beginning of the
Damn, look, my
debacle
dude got
with this
B-roll.
charity, where they had to come out with a statement because the co-founders of the charity were caught embezzling and misappropriating funds. That is just the tip of the iceberg, the beginning to all of this. And they want you to think it's to help benefit trans lives, coming from the co-founders of this company that straight up took money, misappropriated it, and did not spend it in the best way possible. They didn't talk to the board about it. They didn't get approval for it.
Yeah, that's big red flag. I don't even know how the fucking Smash, how did you even find out about this shit? I couldn't even find like anything about it. I think Smash is a private eye in his real life. What's my most played game of 24? I don't know. I will tell you the game that I go to a lot on a like almost daily basis is Fortnite. Believe it or not, I play Fortnite a lot. I was a little upset that the Five Nights at Freddy's update ain't coming out tomorrow. It's gonna be a Fall Guys update.
Just straight up took the money. There's a whole long email here that I could go through, but if I read through every word of everything, this would be a 3-hour long video. Let me just pick out the most important, crucial part of it, where they stated, earlier this year, the board launched an investigation into the financial transactions of Nina and Greta and concluded, with the advice of legal and financial professionals, that there had been significant spending of Trans Lifeline funds outside the scope of the current budget.
King Benny, are you serious? Somebody actually told me the other day that Kamala ads were showing up on my channel. If that's the case, I think that's fucking hilarious. Who else has gotten a Kamala ad while watching my channel?
Much of this spending was on an unauthorized project neither approved by the board nor made clear to donors, which Greta and Nina sincerely believed was for the good of the trans community. Unfortunately, their unauthorized project ran afoul of Trans Lifeline's obligations to the 501c.
Flynn says they got an ad blocker, and Smash says they have premium. So one is legal and one's not. Well, fuck, Flynn. Could you take your ad blocker off when you're watching me at least? I need the 10 cents of ad revenue.
C3 tax laws. Oh, but it's okay.
Yeah, I have premium also.
Like it was the betterment of the trans people. We wanted to live a lavish lifestyle, as you could see on their Instagrams back then from doing some research, that these people were not spending the funding that was coming in to supposedly assist what trans people were living through in crisis, which was the whole point of this charity in the first place. But then it got me looking into the financial mismanagement of this charity with Nina and Greta. They were involved in unauthorized spending of the funding that was coming in back in 2018. This is not anything new. It's actually like what this charity was founded upon was embezzling and stealing funding. Okay, let's get that straight. And this charity is still around. And finding this out, I'm like, oh, that explains, like in my previous video, I'm like, oh, these original people were there, but now it seems like they have a complete board refresh. That explains why they had a complete overhaul, why they changed everyone there. Because these people had to be kicked out. They were literally stealing money from their charity. It was so bad that they had to make a public statement about the illegal usage of funds.
So something came up today when I was on Words of Paradise today, and I forget who asked it, but we were speculating actually. We were actually speculating earlier if maybe the reason why she did this, and this is just speculation, all right? Nobody's slandering you, Mercante, if you're lurking. We were speculating if maybe she knows one or more people that are working for this charity that are benefiting from 20K being raised, since there's a lot of this weird sus stuff going on, and You know what I mean? So we're speculating maybe there was some kind of uh scratch my back, I scratch yours type of thing going on with this.
And fired the founders. And that is just the beginning of this rabbit hole. Now I want to talk a little bit about Kiwi Farms. And I know right away you say Kiwi Farms, people are like, oh, nope, turn it off. I can't. Nope, Kiwi Farms, bad. They're bad people. They're awful. You know, bigoted, horrible. It's harasser.
Push one in the chat if you have a thread on Kiwi Farms, guys. Push one in the chat. I'll push one. All right.
You know, here's the thing, that might actually be true for certain individuals on certain websites. But what I found out about the Kiwi Farms investigation about this corporation really exposed what's going on when it comes to institutionalized censorship. Kiwi Farms described in detail the tactics that were used with the Drop Kiwi Farms hashtag, experienced from the inside. Say what you want about Kiwi Farms, but when a corporate agenda is actively trying to hide behind being anti-trans as a way to silence, remove, and ultimately shut down your website, I have some serious issues with that. Coming from someone who had people trying to shut down their website, I don't like that. I feel like if people have a platform, they should be able to use it to say what they want.
God damn, Smash. I swear to God, earlier today, I looked at your fucking sub count, or at least like yesterday, and it was like at 36.5. You just hit 39K? Fuck. You're going to surpass me like in a month.
They want to say, and the audience can take what they want out of it and either trust the person or not. But they don't need a third party coming in saying, oh, we don't want you. We're going to remove your website and remove the ability to have people decide what they want based off of what you're saying. According to the Kiwi Farms investigation, Trans Lifeline was operated by Greta and Nina. The organizers would post extravagant lifestyle photos.
Hypnotic's going to pass me too. Both of you guys will hit 100K before I do. I guarantee it. With that said, if you guys are not subscribed yet, if you guys are not subscribed to the ABE Nation, hit that subscription button. I'm literally 10,050 subs away from 100K. I'm literally going to be at 90K here. I could have been here yesterday, but I've been floating. Like, I literally have been losing like 30, gaining 25, losing 5, gaining 10. Like, I've been fucking floating. I've been floating. But I have a whole bunch of fucking retro fucking people that are like, ooh, why don't you do retro games and go game hunting still? What's up, Misfit? Yeah, Smash is killing it with views. We'll do like the same topic and he'll get like 15K and I'll get like 3. It's like, fuck.
On their public Instagrams. Meanwhile, the Trans Lifeline hotline service rarely had anyone online to accept emergency calls. This led Kiwi Farms users to suspect they were stealing from their charity. So we began documenting both their lifestyle and their hotline's performance, or lack thereof. Documents leaked to us by people who had worked with them showed that there was almost no organization, no internal support structure, and no training. Transgender people recruited by TLL to be call agents would then be put on lines to deal with the immediately at-risk unaliving transgender people with scant information on how to actually help them. Some callers reported being hung up on. Operators reported trauma from having to answer life or death phone calls without any idea of what to do.
So this is one thing that I have a problem with this hotline is that they're encouraging people to not call actual crisis hotlines. Like they're saying that, like one thing on their website was talking about how if you call like the suicide prevention or anything like that, they send cops to your house non-consensually. Like it was like super cop hater. Like you could not like the police or whatever, but like never in my life have I ever seen a charity that was like so anti-cop outside of like BLM, right? And it's like they're very limited in their hours. It's volunteers that aren't getting paid. They're also transgender members that are also at risk for suicide. It's like literally like the worst hotline ever to ever like fucking use if you're suicidal.
Or say these people were hired by this charity to deal with severe life or death phone calls, and they were, get this, volunteers. And I'll get to that in a little bit. But yikes. Years later, and thanks to the information made available only on the Kiwi farms, they would be ousted from the organization for fraud. Trans Lifeline's operators would later file under penalty of perjury that Greta and Nina had inured hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Ridiculous.
This would begin the long trend of transgender activists saying, ignore the bad things on Kiwi farms. They're made up. With the punchline being that we'd end up proven right over time, and with damage done that could only be mitigated if we were trusted sooner.
Here's also the problem that works in favor with transgender groups and charities and organizations is since they're a protected group of people, they could always use that as a shield on anything, especially like if a Kiwi farms or YouTubers or newspapers or other people are going after them, they could easily just use that they're a protected group as a shield. So them saying like, oh, ignore Kiwi farms, it's a whole bunch of internet trolls and doctors and blah blah blah. Like the law, even though they hate police, will still work in their favor because they're looked at as a protected group. So they could use that as a fucking excuse. And they do use it as an excuse.
So it's stuff like this where I'm like, yeah, before I even investigated or looked at or even knew about Kiwi farms, even me,
exactly,
I had the mentality of like, oh, that's bad, I don't want to trust, or look at, that's just awful, horrible, the despicable scum of the earth, human beings on that website. And I don't mean this to come across as like a defense for Kiwi farms, but it just makes me want to think about other stuff in a different light, with a new perspective of like, okay, maybe what I hear from sources, the institutions telling us what to think, might not be the best approach. We should probably be thinking for ourselves. But back to the specifics listed on the Trans Lifeline website, which honestly is incriminating enough on its own. If you just look at the website for what it is and what they say.
Exactly, Misfit. Playing the protected card is definitely cowardly, but they also play the oppressed victim card as well. And it's if you're not a straight white male this day and age, you're able to get away with it, believe it or not. And then if you're also left leaning,
I'm like, how could anyone even give
community,
money to
not
this fraudulent
cops, yes.
organization? It's borderline, if not more than borderline. It like literally comes across to me as a criminal organization.
Look, that is literally a fucking icon on their fucking website. An upside down car with fucking flowers growing at it. To me, that looks like subliminally, maybe I'm reaching here. Subliminally, that could be a car that's flipped over in a riot, right? Like a riot in a city where they flip over police cars. To me, that looks like that could be that subliminally, right? I'm just fucking saying.
Trans Lifeline supports initiatives include paying bail and providing legal assistance to trans individuals, even if they've been found guilty of crimes. Under their criminalization policy, their approach is rooted in the belief that the legal system is biased against trans people. So they don't trust the police. They don't trust the legality systems. They feel like everyone's out to get them. They are the constant victim. And anyone who's done anything as a trans person and put in prison for it should instantly be jumped out of prison, bounced, sprung, get them out of there because the system got them down. This organization has paid over $500,000. Okay, $500,000 towards criminals, people who have been convicted and put in prison.
Yeah, that's the other sus thing, man. It's all towards getting people out of jail that are like criminals, which to me, if you think woke, it's fucking Antifa motherfuckers, right? Police hating people in jail that are transgender literally screams Antifa to me.
They have tried to get out of prison. Why? Because they identify as trans. This is the organization that the video game industry is like championing
She's so
as like
fucking ugly, by
the
the
best
way,
thing, the
Mercante.
charity that is a good thing that we should be giving money to. The money that's been embezzled and stolen from the founders to now what the money they do have that isn't is going towards getting criminals out of jail because the system is rigged. What? By supporting the Trans Lifeline, donors are actively contributing to the efforts to release trans individuals from prison, regardless of their criminal convictions, suggesting that the world is inherently just unjust towards trans people.
It's
and
all
that helping
anger.
them navigate
Like,
or
like
avoid
these guys are the ones that call people like myself, Smash, Hypnotic, Grums, Melanie Mac, Quartering, Stuttering Craig, you know, the whole list. They're the ones that call us grifters when they literally support something. Like, you saw all Mercante's friends and herself all showing up in droves to support what is actually like 110% a legitimate fucking grift. Retro Smetro with the $1.99 Mercante Chon Chon time, he says. All right, hold on. We got the Chon Chon goal. Let me do it. Oh, I can't lift my leg. Chon Chon! Oh, God. Give me some Chon Chon. All right, I couldn't do it. I haven't stretched in a while. Thank you so much. Can I get a hashtag Retro Smetro in the chat, please?
consequences of the legal system is a way to combat systematic discrimination, because it always comes back to, oh, I'm being discriminated against because I'm trans and I happen to murder someone, but I'm trans. And
they like being discriminated, though, even though they claim they hate it. It's what gives them life, guys. It's what gives them a purpose to what they have going on in their life, right?
The system is just getting me down, but I killed somebody. But it's okay because I'm
no Keffel style farts.
Trans, and the system is just really discriminatory towards me. Hypnotic covered it.
Smash JT with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Says thanks for covering the vid. Of course. I might even fucking repurpose this as a reaction video. Anyways, yeah, thank you. No problem. This is a good video.
The Saturday Night Hypnosis. In addition to assisting criminals break free, they also assist in name changes and alternate IDs to assist people in hiding. Like, yikes. ×2.
So all this money is going to Trans Lifeline. Let's see. Trans Lifeline advocates on behalf of trans people.
See, this was on Hypnotic stream. They literally were reading what they do.
Resilient trans community. Well, they're not very resilient. You guys are actually pretty damn not resilient. The statistics show that you are 70% some odd not resilient at all.
But again, Hypno, that is a good thing, because that means that $20,000 is going to go a lot further.
That's true. There's very few trans people that make it to use the money. Provided and coordinated by trans peers. Shocker. The hotline is there to provide peer support to trans people who need it. The micro grant program provides...
Parbs with a banger comment and question in the chat, guys. They said, what concerns me is there are many trans people getting in trouble for messing with underage kids. They want to use that money to free them. That's something to speculate about and actually think about here. You know, not everybody's a groomer, but regardless of what, those people are fucking convicts. They're in jail. And clearly they're not mentally stable already because they're transgenders and trying to do all this stuff to convert and change their names, and you know what I mean? It's a lot of hey, you know, ooh, look into it. Check their hard drive type of stuff, right? What's up, Drunk 3PO? Is that the Drunk 3PO? If it is, I am a fucking fan. Holy fuck, it is. What is up, dude? How's it going, guys? Shout outs to Drunk 3PO in the chat. Shout outs to Drunk 3PO as I fucking move away from fucking the video I was watching. Shout outs. How you doing?
Low barrier grants to trans people in need of legal name changes and updated IDs, as well as specialized support for trans people who are incarcerated or detained. So this is all going to money money to people who are trying to hide themselves or criminals.
Then we get to the non-consensual hospitalization and medical discrimination, where they talk about how the organization takes a stance that trans people are facing discrimination. It's always discrimination, by the way, because God forbid, like, a trans person is accountable. Like, isn't it interesting?
I don't understand why they like this lifestyle, guys, where they're like, like I one time when I was like maybe like 5-6 years ago, me and my friends were wanting to come up with a game, and none of you guys better steal this, by the way. None of you guys better steal this idea, but we were wanting to come up with a game that's like almost like Cards Against Humanity. But what the goal is that you have to try to get these cards to make yourself the most oppressed person in order to win the game. So you'll get cards that have like a description, like, you know, like your skin color, your you know, your gender, your, you know, your religion, all this and that you don't want to have cards that make you privileged in any way. So like the worst cards that you could fucking draw is like a straight white male, right? So like it's basically like Cards Against Humanity, but you make yourself oppressed. So you have to like make the best combo that round. And it has like the descriptions would have like different point values on the top. So that was my idea.
Interesting, by the way, quick sidebar, like how there's this whole lack of accountability when it comes to activists. They always want to oppress other people and not be accountable for their own actions. And this all circles back to Alyssa Mercante, who could not be.
Hey, I put it on video form, guys, so that's evidence that I came up with it. 11:37 p.m., August 5th, 2024.
Accountable for her actions of reaching out to my wife and apologizing for doing that. She was lacking any accountability whatsoever. And digging through this rabbit hole further, I see it's like a mental block that people like her have, where they are just unable to be accountable no matter how in the wrong they are. But anyways, back to their non-consensual hospitalization. The organization takes a stance that trans people are facing discrimination in medical settings, lacking access to appropriate gender-affirming care.
Jesus
because
Christ.
they need to have the access to gender-affirming care. The money that people are donating to this charity goes towards sponsoring gender affirmation, even if these people are likely to commit unaliving after doing that. In fact, some could argue that this charity is providing the exact opposite of support.
I would dare say, just like what he said with that take, based on stats alone, they could definitely be somehow enabling, you know, enabling people feeling suicidal with gender affirming care and all that. Like, they're actually kind of enabling the behavior, if you think about it.
Trans Lifeline avoids at all costs involving any emergency services in crisis. You know, the professionals that are prepared.
Yeah, 100%.
Trained to deal and handle with this stuff. Nope, we can't deal with the professional emergency services because we don't trust them. We don't like our legal system. We don't trust that.
No
we
cops.
Don't like the police. The police are bad, so we don't trust them. Like, they don't trust anyone that holds them accountable. Using back alley, unethical, and aggressive approaches, they push gender affirmation, ruining the lives of potentially psychologically ill individuals. They push against institutionalization for people in dire need of mental institutions. All for what? Because they identify as a trans person.
Exactly. They're literally saying, don't trust anybody, don't use these institutions, don't use anything because you're automatically oppressed. Going to, you know, actual crisis hotlines because they're going to have non-consensual cop, you know, check-ins show up. They're going to, you know, you go to a hospital, they're going to do everything that is against you. Like, I guess they're more worried about when you go to the hospital, them calling you a male than your preferred pronoun, right? That's what they're find oppressed. Like, these people could literally be shot 8 times by a gun on their deathbed, and if the doctor dare says their dead name and their fucking biological sex, they're going to be more offended by that than their life being saved. Think about that. That's fucking psycho. Like, I could see somebody on their deathbed more worried about their dead name being said and their fucking the gender they were born with than their preferred pronouns being used. Fucking ridiculous. Somebody said something in the chat that I fucking saw that I was like, oh, that's a banger right there. I forget what it was. Where was it? I just missed it. Oh well.
Even if, by the way, there are trans people out there that I've conversed with that I feel like are fine. Like, they're not completely off
Same.
their rockers.
Same.
They're just identifying as trans. But what if, I know crazy talk here, but what if there's a trans person that is insane? Like, you can't have both. Like, if you're trans, you just, by definition, you are completely sane and normal. Well, according to Trans Lifeline, yeah. And it goes on and on about economic oppression and how there's zero accountability for trans people. And they go into racism and trans people of color due to factors of unemployment, lack of housing,
It's all
and
fucking
healthcare
weird
access.
shit.
Here's the thing. Like, if you are looking for a professional job, you need to be professional. Like, it's not about you. I know the world is trying to turn itself into, oh, accept me for who
Yeah, this whole, oh, we're all special little snowflakes, guys. We're all special little unique snowflakes that need to be catered to, and everything revolves around us, and we have to have our special little pronouns and all of our fucking things, or else we're being oppressed, and it's straight male privilege, straight white male privilege and misogyny and yuck.
who I am because me and I matter because how I identify. If I'm hiring someone for a company, I'm hiring them because of the shit they do and how
Yep.
good they are at
If
doing
they're qualified.
it. Not, oh, they identify as a flower today. Oh, a rose petal. You want to be called professor? You know, that whole thing where if you don't address people how they demand to be addressed, then you're not living in their fantasy world and then you're the one in the wrong and then they try to get you fired. That whole rabbit hole they're trying to go down, this is
They're special ed.
all perpetuated by charities that push this kind of propaganda. Trans Lifeline goes into talking about how the interconnectedness of racism, transphobia, and other forms of discrimination occur. They prioritize racial equality and reparation.
See, like, what does white supremacy have to do with this? Like, what does dismantling white supremacy have to do with any of this, other than the fact that just like all the other woke activists before they've been after them, even if they're not trans, they have to throw this out there. They might as well just make a charity that's called Trans Against White Supremacy. Like, they might as well just make trans against white people, trans against white men. They might as well just do it. Like, that's always something that's included in it.
To address systematic injustices affecting BIPOC trans individuals, advocating for structural solutions like abolishing police and incarceration, which ironically is racist. They don't want police. They want to abolish the police. They don't want incarceration. They don't want any jail cells. They want it to be like Gotham City after the Joker.
That's a good fucking description. Like at the end of Joker where fucking Joaquin Phoenix fucking is like fucking being put into the fucking police car.
That's out the asylum. That's the world that these people are actively trying to perpetuate. And anything else they try to tell you is a straight up lie. And none of this even gets into the horrifically racist and discriminatory hiring practices where they require 50% BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, which itself is inherently racist. If you're trying to check off checkboxes for who you're hiring, that means
it's discrimination.
You can't hire someone that is qualified for the position.
It's discrimination, and I said it in my video today too. Like, I would want the most qualified person to handle a crisis hotline and prevent suicide to be hired. But these people are more worried about diversity and filling out check boxes and whether their employees transgender or non-binary or non-conforming, right? They're more worried about that. And those people are already at risk for suicide. And they're the ones telling other people or handling other people on a crisis hotline. when I would want to hire the most qualified people. Like, who gives a fuck? Just because it's a trans charity doesn't mean you can't have straight people that are more than qualified to handle crisis answer the phones.
If you've already met your quota on white people. And they don't even hire anyone that's not trans, by the way. You have to identify as trans to work there, even if you're not qualified to handle crisis situations.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you're trans, you can get hired there. You should probably be black or indigenous. Don't be white, because there's no room for you in a place like this. Oh, and the real kicker? They don't pay any of their hotline workers.
Nope.
And only answer calls Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So God forbid you have an actual crisis in your life and you need to call this Trans Lifeline charity hotline and say, hey,
Yeah, you're
I'm
fucked.
thinking of unaliving. Someone help. Hello, your call is very important to us. Please wait
Yeah, you're basically fucked.
12 hours and hopefully someone will be with you that's most likely not qualified to even have this phone call in the first place. Overall, after looking further into this charity, it is overwhelmingly clear to me that people supporting it either didn't do any research, like whatsoever, zero research.
None,
They were
Mercante.
this is going along with the crowd, being one of the NPCs that's like, oh, it's a charity. It's a good thing. We should give money to it. Let's not question, investigate, or research anything about it, because if we do, by definition of these people, we are now the bigots. We can't research any of it. We can't do our due diligence because that is inherently bigot, racist, homophobic, transphobic,
Hitting
horrible.
it on the head, man.
Just don't question. Just give us money. Or the other reason, which is even worse.
You're not allowed to self-delete over the weekend, apparently, says Powder Keg. The Popo says Moxie Raid. Welcome, Raiders. If you guys are hidden here, I appreciate it.
Supporting the criminal actions of this agenda while hiding behind the veil of a charity by springing criminals from prison just because they identify as being trans is so abhorrently insane to me that there are no words for it. And the fact that someone like Alyssa Mercante is trying to champion this like it's a good thing tells you all you need to know.
I don't think she researched into it, and if she knows about it, she's 110%. And I hate to say it, but she probably was doing this to help out friends that are fucking very sus and pocketing money.
About someone like her and her journalism. This right here is straight up proof that she has always been an activist, hiding behind the veil of journalism, using video games
110%.
as an insidious virus way of
That picture is so unsexy, guys. That's it's a shame that her ass actually is the best feature about her, because how dare she tell the hypnotic like chat that she's gonna buy them all soap when she looks dirty and she's got like a 5 head. Like, look at that hairline. She's literally like unsexy, unfucking sexy,
inserting herself into a situation and trying to spread it to other people. And this, seeing the people react in the video game industry the way they are, perpetuating.
Wasn't that the dude that had the yeah, that's the fucking game, that Zao the game that completely fucking failed. That's like the head honcho of it, right?
This madness is proving that what she's doing is working. But it's also why I make these videos. It's a way to fight back, bring some rationalization back to humanity.
Oblivious with the fucking banger fucking comment of the fucking night. Says, look, if you're gonna make yourself an ass on the internet, might as well make that your best feature. If I was Review Tech USA, I would hit the applause button right fucking there. That was a fucking banger fucking comment. Holy shit.
Bring some level of normalcy and understanding and accountability to everyone. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, holy crap, this was one hell of a deep dive. And again, especially with the Kiwi Farm stuff, it doesn't even scratch the surface of just how insidiously, insanely crazy this charity really is. If
absolutely.
you want more information, check out smashjt.com. I have links for all that stuff. If you want to dive down the rabbit hole, have at it. It's a lot of information. It's very interesting, and will give you a new perspective of reality of how these institutions really push their propaganda and ultimate censorship on the entire society at large. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy what I'm doing, please consider hitting that join button. I would genuinely appreciate it. And as always, you stay smashing.
Just
You
know,
stay smashing.
we are here.
Not bad, man. Good video. Good take. You know, the sad thing about all this whole situation is, though, is this charity is basically probably going to pocket all that crap. Like all the stuff that they're spewing on their website about helping people and yada, 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 probably is all for naught because they're literally using very little of that money. I can't imagine this charity makes that much a year, but they're spending more on salaries and using the funds inappropriately. Now, real quick, before we move on, I want all of you guys to go to that video that we just watched. Go like it, comment, and sub if you haven't.